Chosen one. This is about why the world feels heavier for you, why your energy has been drained, and how to protect your spirit before it burns out. Stop scrolling. This is not random. If this reached you, it reached you on purpose. Out of billions of voices fighting for attention, this message found you because your spirit was ready. This is God's message arriving in divine alignment, and it is about to explain what you have been feeling but could not fully put into words. You did not choose this path of spiritual awakening. It chose you. You did not ask to see through illusions, to sense tension before it is spoken, to feel the emotional weight of rooms, crowds, or even a screen. Yet here you are, more aware, more sensitive, more perceptive than ever before. Your divine calling interrupted your comfort. It disrupted your normal life. It expanded your perception so deeply that you can never go back to who you were. And in this video, you are going to understand exactly why that happened, what it means about your identity as a chosen one, and how to guard your energy so the very awareness that awakened you does not consume you. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear will either confirm everything your spirit already knows or change the way you see yourself forever. The world feels heavier now, doesn't it? Conversations that once felt harmless now drain you. Crowds feel overwhelming. Chaos feels amplified. Negativity feels thicker. It is not because you are fragile. It is not because you are weak. It is because your spiritual awakening heightened your awareness. Sensitive, spiritually awakened souls absorb collective energy. You walk into environments and feel what others ignore. You sense tension before conflict explodes. You feel sadness in places where people are smiling. That heaviness is not imagined. It is perception expanding. There is an emotional field that surrounds humanity, a current of fear, anxiety, anger, ambition, distraction, and unhealed pain. Most people move through it unconsciously, but the chosen ones feel it. And when you do not understand what you are feeling, you assume something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are aware. Listen carefully. Energy protection is not selfish. It is sacred responsibility. You were not given heightened perception so you could be consumed by the world's chaos. You were given awareness so you could stand steady inside it. Protecting your energy is not avoidance, it is obedience. It is stewardship of the light placed inside you. A flame cannot guide anyone if it allows every wind to extinguish it. Some of you have been trying to carry everyone. You answer every call. You respond to every message. You absorb every emotional storm. You step into every conflict, thinking it is your job to calm it. But your divine calling was never to burn yourself out, proving your compassion. It was to remain aligned, clear, and spiritually fortified. If you feel this truth resonating in your chest right now, comment 777, not for attention, but as an act of agreement, as a declaration that you recognize this divine alignment. By the end of this message, you will understand how to protect your energy without guilt. You will understand how to strengthen emotional resilience so that chaos does not shake your core. You will understand how to establish spiritual boundaries that honor your calling instead of apologizing for it. You will understand how to practice energy cleansing in a way that restores clarity instead of feeding fear. This is not surface-level advice. This is spiritual strategy. The heaviness you feel is not weakness. It is awareness expanding faster than your boundaries, and awareness without protection feels like drowning. But awareness with discipline becomes power. You are not here to collapse under collective pressure. You are here to stand inside it without losing yourself. Let us circle back to the beginning so there is no confusion. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the shift in your spirit. You are not overreacting. You were called. Your spiritual awakening was not random. Your divine calling is not fantasy. The war for attention, for purity, for clarity, for peace is real, and light always becomes a target in dark environments. That is why energy protection is not optional for you. It is essential. Your light is necessary. Your clarity is necessary. Your emotional steadiness is necessary. The world does not need more drained souls, it needs anchored ones. It needs spiritually aware leaders who know how to guard their inner world while navigating the outer one. If this message stirred something deep within you, if it felt like confirmation rather than information, comment 111, because you already know it. You were called. Why the world feels heavier after spiritual awakening. Why the chosen one after spiritual awakening. The world does not change overnight. You do. And when you change internally, everything external feels amplified. Colors seem sharper, silence feels louder, energy becomes tangible. What once rolled off your shoulders now lingers in your spirit. This is what heightened perception feels like. It is not mystical fantasy, it is awareness expanding beyond surface-level living. Spiritual awakening removes filters. Before awakening, you moved through life interpreting events only through logic and routine. After awakening, you begin to sense undertones. You hear what is not being said. You feel what is being suppressed. You detect emotional shifts in a room before anyone speaks. This increased sensitivity to negativity is one of the clearest chosen one signs. You are not becoming fragile, you are becoming perceptive. Negativity now feels heavier because you recognize it faster. Manipulation stands out. Deception feels obvious. Emotional chaos around you feels loud, even when disguised as normal conversation. You notice when someone is smiling but carrying resentment. You notice when environments are charged with competition, envy or fear. Before spiritual awakening, you may have participated unconsciously. Now your spirit resists it. That resistance is growth. You may also feel drained in crowds, or even while scrolling online. A room full of people can exhaust you in minutes. Social media, filled with comparison, outrage, and constant stimulation, can leave you emotionally depleted. It is not introversion alone, it is energetic overload. Awakened individuals process not just information but vibration. Every environment carries frequency. When your perception heightens, you feel that frequency intensely. Conversations begin to change as well. Superficial exchanges that once felt harmless now feel empty. Small talk feels forced. Gossip feels toxic. Surface-level debates feel pointless. You crave depth. You crave truth. You crave conversations that carry meaning instead of noise. This shift often creates distance between you and people you once connected with easily, and that distance can feel isolating. But listen carefully. Isolation after spiritual awakening is not punishment, it is positioning. Divine calling often isolates before it elevates. When your assignment requires clarity, distractions are removed. When your perception sharpens, illusions fall away. The discomfort you feel is not loss, it is refinement. Old energetic tolerance dissolves because you are no longer meant to carry what once felt normal. There is something else happening that many do not understand. There is a collective emotional field surrounding humanity. Fear travels through it. Anxiety circulates through it. Anger, grief, ambition, insecurity, all move through this invisible current. Most people are influenced by it unconsciously, but awakened souls sense it directly. You walk into environments and feel collective stress. You wake up some days heavy without knowing why, because you are picking up on global tension. This sensitivity is not imagination. It is perception interacting with the collective field. These are not signs of weakness. They are chosen one signs. Increased sensitivity, heightened awareness, reduced tolerance for chaos, deep discomfort with manipulation, craving solitude to recalibrate. These are indicators of spiritual awakening unfolding. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your spirit is strengthening. Your discernment is sharpening. However, growth feels heavy before it feels empowering. When old energetic tolerance dissolves, you temporarily feel exposed. You are no longer numb, but you have not yet mastered emotional resilience. That in-between stage can feel overwhelming. You sense everything, yet you have not fully learned how to filter what you absorb. This is why the world feels heavier. Divine calling reshapes your internal structure. It expands your perception so you can navigate with discernment. But expansion without boundaries feels exhausting. The heaviness is a signal. It is your spirit asking for refinement, not retreat. Emotional resilience begins when you stop interpreting sensitivity as a flaw and start recognizing it as power, requiring discipline. You were not awakened to suffer under collective chaos. You were awakened to move through it with clarity, but clarity demands containment. If you do not understand this stage, you will assume something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong. You are adjusting to expanded awareness. Growth always disrupts comfort before it establishes strength. Let us return to the truth, so doubt does not creep in. This is a message from God. You are not imagining this shift. You are called into spiritual awakening. The war for clarity, peace, and discernment is real. And when perception sharpens, darkness becomes more visible. Your increased awareness does not mean you are losing stability. It means your light is intensifying. But hear this clearly. If you do not protect your energy, the world will consume it. Heightened perception without protection leads to burnout. Sensitivity without boundaries leads to exhaustion. Awareness without discipline leads to overwhelm. Your light is necessary. Your calling is necessary. Your emotional resilience must be built intentionally. You are not here to drown in collective noise. You are here to stand conscious within it. If this truth resonated deeply, if you feel seen rather than misunderstood, then you already know this message was meant for you. If this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it. You were called. Energy protection is a spiritual discipline. Chosen one. Energy protection is not a trend, not a slogan, not a dramatic ritual reserved for mystics. It is a spiritual discipline. It is practical. It is grounded. It is the daily decision to guard your inner world with the same seriousness that you guard your physical body. Just as you would not allow anyone to walk into your home uninvited, you cannot allow every emotion, every opinion, every demand to walk freely into your spirit. Energy protection simply means becoming intentional about what you allow to influence your mind, your emotions, and your atmosphere. It means recognizing that your attention is valuable, your peace is valuable, your clarity is valuable, and anything that consistently disrupts those things must be evaluated. This is not dramatic. This is mature spirituality. Let us make something clear, so confusion does not distort this teaching. Energy protection is not avoidance. You are not running from the world. You are learning how to move through it without absorbing everything it throws at you. It is not fear. You are not shrinking back in insecurity. You are standing firm in awareness. It is not superiority. You are not elevating yourself above others as if you are untouchable. You are simply honoring the responsibility that comes with heightened perception. Energy protection is spiritual boundaries in action. It is what happens when awareness becomes disciplined behavior. First comes awareness. You notice when something drains you. You recognize when certain conversations leave you anxious. You feel when certain environments disrupt your peace. Awareness is the awakening stage, but awareness alone is not enough. The next step is boundaries. Boundaries are decisions. They are limits placed around your energy. They are clear internal instructions that say, this far and no further. And when boundaries are practiced consistently, they become lifestyle, not something you occasionally remember, not something you enforce only when exhausted, but a natural way of living. Protecting your attention is the first discipline. Attention is energy in motion. What you repeatedly focus on shapes your internal atmosphere. If you constantly consume outrage, gossip, comparison, and fear, your spirit will feel unstable. Protecting your attention means choosing what you watch, what you listen to, and what you dwell on. It means recognizing that endless scrolling is not harmless if it leaves you emotionally scattered. Protecting your emotional responses is equally critical. Not every comment deserves reaction. Not every disagreement requires defense. Emotional resilience begins when you pause before reacting. You can observe negativity without internalizing it. You can hear criticism without allowing it to redefine you. Protecting your emotional response means refusing to let someone else's chaos dictate your internal state. Protecting your environment matters. The spaces you inhabit influence your nervous system. Constant noise, constant argument, constant disorder weakens clarity. Sometimes energy protection looks like leaving a room. Sometimes it looks like lowering your voice instead of escalating. Sometimes it looks like choosing solitude over forced socialization. You are not obligated to remain where your spirit feels suffocated. Protecting your time is another sacred act. Time is not just minutes on a clock. It is life force. You cannot give unlimited access to your schedule without draining your calling. You cannot pour into everyone and expect to remain full. Hear this in a strong and unwavering tone. You cannot answer every call. You cannot carry every burden. You cannot fix every broken spirit. Trying to do so is not compassion. It is self-neglect disguised as service. God's message for you is not burnout. Your divine calling was never to exhaust you into emptiness. You were not awakened to become an emotional dumping ground for unhealed people. You were called to shine with clarity, not flicker from fatigue. Energy protection ensures your flame remains steady. When you practice this discipline consistently, something shifts. You begin to feel stronger, not because the world becomes lighter, but because you become anchored. Emotional resilience is not built through exposure alone. It is built through structured boundaries. You learn when to engage and when to withdraw. You learn when to speak and when to remain silent. You learn that peace is not passive, it is guarded. Let us circle back, so doubt cannot distort this truth. This is a message from God. You are not imagining your exhaustion. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You were called, and calling requires containment. The war for your attention, your focus, your emotional stability is real, and your light is necessary in this world. Energy protection is not optional for someone who carries awareness. It is discipline. It is obedience. It is strength. If this truth stirred conviction in your spirit, if it confirmed what you have been sensing but could not articulate, then you already know. If this touched your soul, comment 100-111. Because you know it, you were called. Building emotional resilience in a draining world. Chosen one. Emotional resilience is the strength that allows you to remain steady when everything around you feels unstable. Spiritually, it is the ability to stay aligned with your inner truth even when external chaos presses against you. Psychologically, it is the nervous system's capacity to recover from stress without collapsing into overwhelm. It is not about suppressing emotion, it is about processing it without losing your center. Resilience is not numbness. Numbness is shut down. Numbness disconnects you from pain by disconnecting you from everything. Emotional resilience does not dull your sensitivity. It refines it. It allows you to feel deeply without being controlled by what you feel. It is centered strength. It is awareness with stability. It is softness with structure. When your spiritual awakening heightens perception, your emotional system becomes more active. You feel more, notice more, detect more. Without resilience, that heightened perception can exhaust you. But with resilience, it becomes discernment. The key is learning how to engage your emotions without drowning in them. Pause before reacting. This single principle changes everything. When someone provokes you, when a message triggers you, when tension rises in a conversation, your first impulse may be defense. But resilience inserts a sacred pause. In that pause, you reclaim power. You breathe. You observe your body's reaction. You decide instead of react. That pause is not weakness. It is mastery in motion. Observe without absorbing. You can witness someone else's anger without carrying it home. You can listen to someone's frustration without making it your responsibility. You can see manipulation without internalizing it. This is where many awakened individuals struggle. Because of heightened empathy, you feel others intensely, but observation does not require absorption. You can hold space without holding weight. Respond without internalizing. Emotional resilience means you answer from clarity, not from wounded reflex. If someone projects insecurity onto you, you do not need to accept the projection. If someone criticizes you unfairly, you can assess without collapsing. If someone is chaotic, you can remain ordered. Your response becomes intentional instead of reactive. Understand this clearly. Emotional triggers are teachers. They reveal where your boundaries are thin. They reveal where old wounds still echo. Awakened individuals are often tested through relationships because relationships expose emotional patterns quickly. Friends, family, partners, co-worker, all become mirrors. They reveal where you still seek validation. They reveal where you overextend. They reveal where you fear conflict. Spiritual warfare often shows up as emotional chaos around you. It rarely looks dramatic. It looks like constant misunderstandings. It looks like unnecessary arguments. It looks like tension appearing without clear cause. When your divine calling intensifies, so does resistance, not because you are cursed, but because clarity disrupts dysfunction. Emotional resilience becomes your shield in these moments. Instead of escalating, you stabilize. Instead of absorbing, you assess. Your peace is not accidental. It is part of your assignment. Divine calling requires stability. If you are easily shaken, your influence weakens. If your mood is dictated by every external shift, your clarity dissolves. Emotional resilience protects your calling by anchoring your spirit. You are not meant to react to every storm. You are meant to remain grounded within it. There are practical ways to strengthen this resilience daily. Breathing rituals regulate your nervous system. Slow, intentional breathing for even 5 minutes can interrupt stress cycles. Morning solitude recalibrates your awareness before the world demands your attention. Even 15 minutes alone without noise can reset your emotional baseline. Limiting overstimulation protects your clarity. Continuous notifications, constant scrolling, endless noise fragment your focus. Choosing silence restores it. Silence is powerful. Silence is not emptiness, it is recalibration. When you choose silence instead of immediate reaction, you strengthen discipline. When you choose silence instead of gossip, you strengthen integrity. When you choose silence instead of defending yourself unnecessarily, you strengthen authority. Silence trains your nervous system to remain steady under pressure. Let us circle back so you do not doubt what you are experiencing. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the emotional intensity around you. You are called into awareness. The war for your attention, your peace, your emotional stability is real, and your light is necessary in environments that thrive on chaos. Emotional resilience does not remove you from the world. It equips you to stand within it without losing yourself. You are not too sensitive. You are becoming disciplined. You are not overwhelmed beyond repair. You are being refined. But resilience alone is not enough. Strength must be reinforced with structure. That structure is boundaries, the most misunderstood protection tool of all. If this stirred something deep within you, if it confirmed what your spirit has been learning through experience, then you already know. If this touched your soul, comment 101, because you know it. You were called. The power of spiritual boundary. Chosen one, spiritual boundaries are not walls built from bitterness. They are lines drawn from wisdom. They are energetic instructions you give to the world about how you will be treated, how you will engage, and what you will no longer tolerate. Boundaries are not loud. They are clear. They are not aggressive. They are firm. And when practiced consistently, they transform your entire experience of life. Boundaries are energetic instructions you give to the world. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you send an instruction that your energy is negotiable. Every time you tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict, you send an instruction that your peace is secondary. Every time you allow repeated emotional dumping without limits, you send an instruction that your spirit is available for unlimited consumption. The world responds to the instructions you give it. Saying no without guilt is one of the most powerful boundary practices you can develop. No is not rejection. No is redirection. No is clarity. No is stewardship. When you decline something that drains you, you are not failing someone else. You are honoring your capacity. Guilt often rises because you were conditioned to believe that self-sacrifice equals virtue. But exhaustion is not holiness. Burnout is not righteousness. Reducing exposure to toxic conversations is another essential boundary. Not every debate deserves your insight. Not every emotional spiral requires your intervention. When conversations revolve around constant negativity, blame, or gossip, you have permission to disengage. Silence can be a boundary. Changing the subject can be a boundary. Leaving the room can be a boundary. You are not obligated to sit in environments that poison your clarity. Disengaging from gossip is an act of spiritual strength. Gossip entangles your energy in narratives that are not yours to carry. It creates emotional residue. It clouds discernment. When you refuse to participate, you are not isolating yourself. You are protecting your frequency. The chosen one identity requires discipline in speech and in listening. You cannot be a vessel of clarity while feeding on distortion. Limiting social media is not about fear of technology. It is about guarding attention. Endless comparison, outrage cycles, and curated illusions fragment your focus. You begin to measure your worth against edited realities. You absorb collective anxiety without realizing it. Setting limits is not withdrawal from society. It is strategic exposure. You decide how much influence the digital world has over your emotional state. Ending cycles that drain you is perhaps the most difficult boundary of all. Some relationships operate in repetitive loops of conflict, reconciliation, and exhaustion. Some environments demand constant proving, constant explaining, constant defending. You may feel loyal to these cycles because they are familiar, but familiarity does not equal alignment. If a pattern consistently diminishes your peace, it requires evaluation. Guilt will attempt to convince you that boundaries are selfish, but guilt in many cases is conditioning. You were taught that accommodating everyone makes you good. You were taught that confrontation makes you harsh. You were taught that declining requests makes you unkind. These beliefs were absorbed, not chosen, and now they must be examined. Boundaries do not make you cold, they make you clear. Hear this in a firm and unwavering tone. Not everyone who has access to you deserves access to your energy. Access is earned through respect, reciprocity, and alignment. You are not required to be available at all times. You are not required to respond immediately. You are not required to explain every decision. Leaders require containment of power, and you, as a chosen one, are being shaped into leadership through discipline. Power without containment becomes chaos. Sensitivity without boundaries becomes overwhelm. Awareness without structure becomes exhaustion. Your divine calling demands that you manage your energy intentionally. This is not about ego, it is about obedience. Energy protection is obedience to divine calling. When you guard your spirit, you honor the assignment placed on your life. Let us return again to the beginning, so your mind does not wander into doubt. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the resistance you face when you begin setting boundaries. You were called, and calling attracts pressure. The war for your peace, your clarity, your focus is real, and your light is necessary in a world that thrives on distraction. When you establish spiritual boundaries, something shifts internally. You feel steadier, you feel clearer, you feel less reactive. But even with boundaries in place, you will still absorb residue from interactions, from environments, from collective emotion. Protection alone is not enough. What you absorb must also be released. That is why the next discipline is cleansing, because guarding your energy matters, but clearing what lingers matters just as much. If this truth ignited something inside you, if it confirmed the conviction you have been feeling about protecting your peace, then you already know. If this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it. You were called. Energy cleansing, clearing what you absorb. Chosen one, even the most disciplined, protected and self-aware soul will absorb residue. You can have boundaries, you can practice restraint, you can guard your attention. And still, if you are spiritually awake, you will pick up emotional fragments from conversations, environments, and unseen tensions. This does not mean your protection failed. It means you are perceptive. Energy cleansing is simple. It is consciously releasing what is not yours. It is the intentional act of separating your emotions from what you absorbed from others. Many awakened individuals carry heaviness because they never learned to release, they learned to endure, they learned to suppress, they learned to keep moving, but unprocessed residue accumulates. Silence and solitude are the first cleansing tools. When you remove external noise, your internal atmosphere becomes audible. You begin to notice which emotions belong to you and which feel foreign. In silence, your nervous system recalibrates. In solitude, your spirit reorganizes. Even short periods of intentional quiet allow accumulated tension to dissolve. Prayer and communion deepen this release. When you speak honestly, without performance, you transfer weight. You articulate what you are carrying. You surrender what was never assigned to you. Communion restores perspective. It reminds you that you are not the source of everyone's stability. You are supported. You are guided. You are strengthened. Nature exposure recalibrates energy without effort. Trees do not compete. Water does not rush to impress. The earth carries steadiness. When you step outside, away from artificial stimulation, your system stabilizes, the body relaxes, the breath deepens, the mind slows. Nature clears static that constant digital input creates. Water rituals have a similar effect. A shower taken with intention can become release. As water runs over your body, you visualize tension leaving. You breathe slower. You imagine emotional residue washing away. The body responds to imagery. The nervous system relaxes. Cleansing becomes embodied, not abstract. Journaling release is powerful because it moves emotion from inside to outside. When you write without censoring yourself, you identify what you are carrying. You separate your voice from others' voices. You see patterns clearly. Often emotional waves calm simply because they are expressed. Decluttering physical space also shifts energy. Disorder holds stagnation. When your surroundings are chaotic, your mind mirrors it. Clearing your space signals renewal. It reinforces that you are not stuck. You are resetting. Cleansing is not mystical complexity. It is consistent maintenance. Spiritual awakening unfolds in stages. In early stages, perception expands rapidly, but cleansing habits are undeveloped. That is why many chosen ones feel sudden emotional waves. One day you feel steady, the next day you feel heavy without clear cause. Often it is accumulated absorption. You carried conversations, you internalized tension, you processed collective anxiety unconsciously. Energy cleansing restores clarity. It resets emotional baseline. It removes distortion so discernment sharpens again. Without cleansing, even strong boundaries feel ineffective. With cleansing, awareness feels empowering instead of overwhelming. Let us circle back again, so doubt does not enter. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the emotional fluctuations. You are not unstable. You were called into heightened perception. The war for your focus, your clarity, your emotional steadiness is real. And your light is necessary in a world saturated with confusion. Cleansing does not make you fragile. It makes you disciplined. It acknowledges that sensitivity requires maintenance. It honors the reality that you move through environments charged with emotion daily. You do not need to carry what was never yours. But there is something deeper beneath this heaviness. Cleansing restores clarity, yes. Protection guards your energy, yes. Resilience strengthens your response, yes, yet the weight you feel also signals something transformative unfolding. Heaviness is not only residue, it is preparation, and to understand that, you must look beyond exhaustion and into purpose. If this message aligned with your spirit, if it explained the emotional waves you have been navigating, then you already know. If this touched your soul, comment 11:1, because you know it. You were called. The hidden purpose behind the heaviness. Chosen one. What if the heaviness you have been resisting is not punishment, but preparation? What if the weight you feel is not evidence of failure, but proof of refinement? Spiritual awakening does not make life lighter immediately, it makes you deeper, and depth requires pressure. Pressure refines perception. When everything feels intense, you are forced to slow down. You are forced to evaluate what truly matters. You begin to see patterns more clearly. You recognize who drains you and who strengthens you. You detect dishonesty faster. You sense alignment sooner. Pressure sharpens discernment because comfort no longer distracts you. Isolation strengthens discernment. When divine calling begins to separate you from environments that once felt familiar, it can feel lonely. Conversations shift, interests change, connections thin out. But isolation is not abandonment, it is training. When external voices grow quiet, your inner voice grows louder. You begin to trust your instincts. You begin to recognize the subtle guidance that was always present, but previously drowned out by noise. Discomfort deepens intuition. When you no longer fit into spaces that once defined you, you are forced to ask deeper questions. Who am I becoming? What am I tolerating? What is aligned and what is outdated? Discomfort disrupts autopilot living. It forces awareness. Awareness is the gateway to intentional growth. Divine alignment means everything is positioning. The delays, the disconnections, the emotional intensity, the sudden clarity, none of it is random. Pieces are moving into place. Old structures are dissolving, so new strength can form. You may not see the full picture yet, but alignment is occurring beneath the surface. Often, God's message arrives during emotional exhaustion. When you are tired of pretending, when you are tired of carrying weight that does not belong to you, when you are tired of shrinking to make others comfortable. Exhaustion creates openness. It strips pride. It removes distraction. It makes you receptive. In that vulnerable space, truth lands deeply. You are not drowning. You are shedding. Shedding old tolerance. Shedding outdated identities. Shedding relationships that thrived on your overextension. Shedding habits that kept you scattered. Shedding illusions that once kept you comfortable but small. Shedding feels heavy because release requires strength. The chosen one must learn containment before expansion. If your awareness expanded without discipline, you would fragment. If your influence increased without boundaries, you would burn out. If your calling accelerated without resilience, you would collapse under pressure. Containment is not restriction, it is preparation for capacity. Think about this clearly. A structure must be reinforced before it can support greater weight. Your inner world is being reinforced. Emotional resilience is strengthening. Boundaries are solidifying. Cleansing is sharpening clarity. The heaviness is not random, it is conditioning. Let us circle back to the beginning, so your mind does not wander into doubt. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the pressure. You are not overreacting to the intensity. You were called, and when calling intensifies, resistance intensifies. The war for your focus, your peace, your identity is real, but so is your authority. Your light is necessary, not performative light, not forced positivity, authentic, grounded, disciplined light, the kind that remains steady when others panic, the kind that sees clearly when others react blindly, the kind that chooses wisdom over impulse. Heaviness does not mean you are behind, it means you are being prepared. It means expansion is near, but expansion without preparation destroys. That is why this season feels intense. You are being strengthened internally, so you can stand externally. Do not misinterpret refinement as rejection. Do not mistake pressure for punishment. You are not abandoned, you are being shaped, and shaping requires friction. Now, as we move toward final empowerment, understand this clearly. You are not a victim of your awareness, you are a steward of it. The heaviness had purpose, the isolation had purpose, the discomfort had purpose. If this truth resonated in your spirit, if it reframed your struggle into strength, then you already know. If this touched your soul, comment a 111 because you know it, you were called. Final activation. Stand guard over your spirit. Chosen one, now you understand. Energy protection is sacred. It is not a trend, not a preference, not a luxury. It is stewardship. It is responsibility. When you guard your inner world, you honor the calling placed on your life. Spiritual boundaries are necessary. They are not harsh. They are not selfish. They are structure. They are clarity. They are the framework that allows your light to remain steady instead of scattered. Emotional resilience is strength, not coldness, not detachment. Strength, the ability to feel without collapsing, the ability to witness chaos without becoming it, the ability to respond with intention instead of reacting from wounds. Resilience is evidence that your spiritual awakening is maturing, and energy cleansing is maintenance. It is how you release what you absorb. It is how you reset your nervous system. It is how you return to clarity after moving through heavy spaces. You are not here to be drained by the world. You are here to influence it. You are not here to shrink under pressure. You are here to stand anchored within it. The heaviness did not arrive to crush you. It arrived to prepare you. The isolation did not arrive to abandon you. It arrived to refine you. The pressure did not arrive to destroy you. It arrived to strengthen you. Remember how this began. This message found you in divine alignment. Out of endless noise, this truth reached your spirit. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the shift. You are not exaggerating the intensity. You were called, and calling requires discipline. The war is real. The battle for your attention, your peace, your identity, your focus is constant. Distraction competes for you. Chaos competes for you. Emotional manipulation competes for you. But your light is necessary. Your clarity is necessary. Your steadiness is necessary. Stand guard over your spirit. Protect your attention. Protect your time. Protect your environment. Cleanse what you absorb. Strengthen your resilience. Establish your boundaries without apology. Do not shrink to accommodate dysfunction. Do not overextend to prove your worth. Do not allow guilt to dismantle discipline. If you feel aligned with this message, comment 777. Let it be your declaration that you understand the assignment. Let it be your agreement that you will no longer allow your energy to be consumed without consent. And as we close, return to the truth one final time. This is a message from God. You are called. The war is real. Your light is necessary. Protect your energy and watch how the world shifts around you. If this touched your soul, comment 111 because you know it. You were called.